Good afternoon, friends of Jerusalem. Here we start at the beginning of the Jewish quarter, our fourth episode. Today we are going to visit the Jewish quarter. So welcome to the very modern times. We are walking through Chabad Street until we get to the Cardo. You can probably see that the stones here are different from what we have seen before. That is because the Jewish quarter is the newest one. And you would ask why? How is it? If we are here so many years, how could it be that this is the newest one? The reason is that when the Jordanians conquered the eastern part of Jerusalem and the old city, they destroyed the Jewish quarter. And only in 1967, in the 6 Days War, the Jewish quarter was rebuilt. So that's why we have this plain stone, mostly. Plain means that they were cut it with machines. These ones you see here that are very irregular, these stones are very, very old, even though they were used to build the Jewish quarter. We are getting to the Cardo. The Cardo is the main street from Roman and Byzantine times that crossed the city from north to south. Was like an avenue today. And here, down here, we can see it. We're going to go downstairs and walk the Cardo. As we can see, there are some groups, Israeli probably, schools groups, and I've seen many adults as well, but not tourists yet. This is the open area. In fact, all of it was like this. These arches you see on the right at the end were shops, magazines, shops that used to serve the pilgrims coming to the old Holy Temple. To get an idea how it looked then, we will have a pretty new mosaic, in fact, number of mosaics, telling us how the shops used to be. Let's go one by one. This one used to sell pottery, spices, animals, maybe for sacrifice, and so on. Food, carpets, etc. We have many. And if we want to see a picture telling us how was that time, we can see this picture made by a French painter. This is the way it used to be. The arches you see on the right are the shops, people walking. I invite you to find at least one thing that it doesn't belong to that time and to write it at the talk box, okay? One mistake. It's not a mistake, it's anachronical. And now we will get closer to the 7 symbols of Israel. We have dates, olives, grapes, pomegranate, wheat, figs, and oak, I think you call it. Oak, I think. The 7 spices that identify the Jewish people. So look and find the wrong image. Now we will keep on a little bit more further, and we will see the Jewish market that is right in the Cardo. It's locked because shops are closed. So we are going now to go back to the life level. As you saw, we came down to see the Cardo, and this is because so many cultures conquered this land, so each of them destroyed and built on top of the ruins. So we can say that today we are between 70 and 100 meters above King David's time. Here we can see some ruins, but we will speak about them very soon when we can see exactly the dimensions. Well, here we see Hezekiah's wall. This wall was built in the 700 BC by King Hezekiah, to protect the city from the Assyrians that were coming from north, conquering everything they saw in the way. Other thing he did was to build an aqueduct, a subterranean underground aqueduct, to bring waters to the cities, so the city have no necessity of surrounding the Assyrians. This wall is called the wide wall. It was 20 meters wide, and thanks to it and the underground aqueduct, Jerusalem was not conquered by the Assyrians. We are now in the main square of the Jewish quarter. The menorah, with 7 branches, is one of the emblems of Israel. It appears for the first time in the book of Exodus in the Holy Scriptures. And one of the interpretations is that each branch is for one day of the creation. Another interpretation says that it's 7, like the 7 spices that symbolize the Jewish people. The 7 branches are different from the 9 branches. 9 branches are a Chanukiah. As I promised in a previous chapter, I would explain what is Chanukiah. Chanukiah is to remember, it's a symbol to remember a miracle that happened in the 2nd century BC when Jews fought the Greek, and they had oil to make light for only one night, and this oil stayed for 8 nights. So we have 9 because the middle one, with the taller of them, of the branches, we light every day 1 more candle. First day 1 candle with the middle one or the taller one. Second day 2 candles with the middle one, or the leader, let's call it. And usually people put them, the Hanukiot, close to the windows, so everybody who walks on the streets see the light in this house. Usually Hanukkah is on close to Christmas in December. The building you see on the back with the round dome, white, is a synagogue, but we have to remember that even though this one looks very new, the first synagogue to be built here was an Ashkenazi one, and was in the 18th century, 1770, since there were no Ashkenazis, and then came the first Ashkenazis to Jerusalem, and they wanted a synagogue for themselves. They didn't have the money, so they went to the Ottomans that were governing here that time and asked for a loan. And the Ottomans had two conditions. One is that it shouldn't be taller than the Dome of the Rock. The second one, the loan should be paid back by 20 years. What happened is that it wasn't taller than the Dome of the Rock, but after 20 years they didn't have the money to pay back, so the Ottomans exiled the Ashkenazis from Jerusalem and destroyed the first synagogue that was built in this very same place. 100 years later, the first wave of immigrants from Romania and also Ashkenazi countries came at the 1882, and they rebuilt it over the ruins, so they call it Ahurva. Ahurva means the ruin. But, as we said, the Jordanians destroyed the Jewish quarter when they conquered the old city in 1948. So they destroyed once again. This one you saw is a very new one, 12 years old, and it's still called Ahurva. It has the tallest Arona Kodesh, where you put the Torah rolls in the world. And it's a very, very rich one, in wood and crystals, nothing to do with the original one. Also, you have to pay entrance and make reservation ahead. My son says that they are collecting money to pay back to the Ottomans. That's why you have to pay a fee. This is the food street of the Jewish quarter that will lead us to our last point, where we will be able to see the Wailing Wall, the Kotel, the Dome of the Rock, and Al-Aqsa Mosque. That will be the beginning of the 5th episode. Now we are going to go downstairs to the very end of the Jewish quarter. And here we can see on our left ruins from a crusade building. We can also see at the back Al-Aqsa Mosque. We can meet in the way down many people asking for tzedakah, that is charity. And here in a few steps, surprise. Surprise. Here we are. Behind the bridge, you can see a wall that is a Wailing Wall, the Western Wall, the Kotel as we call it, and behind it the Dome of the Rock. the reason of this ugly bridge, and the story of the Kotel, and the Dome of the Rock, and Al-Aqsa Mosque, we will hear in our next episode, hand by hand with Israeli Box. Thanks to Sharon and Maya for hosting me. Bye bye.